You have looked at your life and wondered if provision will ever feel steady. You've prayed in the quiet, asking for more than just survival. You've asked for peace, for stability, for breakthrough. And I have heard you. Long before you saw the numbers, long before the worry crept into your mind, I saw your heart. I saw the dreams that seemed too expensive to hope for, the fears that whispered you were somehow too late or too far behind. And I tell you now, I'm not blind to your need, nor indifferent to your desires. I'm your provider, not just in part, not just in theory, but in power, in presence, and in promise. The world taught you to scramble, to cling, to count every cent in fear. But I call you to a different rhythm, a rhythm of trust, of abundance, of grace that doesn't run dry. I have not called you into a life of constant lack. I have called you into wisdom and provision. I have designed you not to be ruled by money, but to master it through understanding and faith. And where you've seen doors closed, I am opening something greater, not just a way through, but a new mindset, a new posture of receiving, and a restored belief in what's possible when you walk with me. You have believed lies about your worth. You've been told you must strive endlessly to be worthy of blessing, that you must suffer long before favor finds you. But I never said that. I never asked you to earn my love or to prove your value through struggle. You are valuable because I created you. You are worthy because I chose you. And I do not give based on performance. I give based on promise. My desire is not only to meet your needs, but to empower you to thrive. I am not stingy. I am not reluctant. I am a God of overflow, and I want you to know what it means to live with more than enough, not just in your hands, but in your heart. This journey to financial breakthrough is not only about resources, it is about renewal. It is about reshaping your understanding of where your help comes from. It is about teaching you to lift your eyes above the bank account, above the bills, above the deadlines, and to see me standing in the middle of your story. I am not intimidated by the numbers. I am not restricted by economies. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. I form the gold, the silver, the markets, the soil that produces all wealth. And I placed in you the ability to create, to manage, to grow, to steward, because I am a generous God, and you bear my image. You felt the tension between desire and guilt, wondering if it's wrong to want more, afraid of being perceived as selfish. But hear me clearly. The desire for security, for peace, for the ability to bless others, that's not greed. That is alignment with my heart. I do not give so you can hoard. I give so you can flow. So your life becomes a river of my goodness, not a dam of self-protection. And yes, it begins with you learning to receive, to open your hands again, to believe again, to step out in faith even when the numbers still say no. You're not cursed. You're not forgotten. You're not destined to live in lack. The patterns of your past, the stories you've heard, the limitations you've internalized, none of them have the final say. I have the final say. And I say this: a new season is upon you. A shift is beginning, not just in your finances, but in your faith. Not just in your income, but in your insight. You will begin to see differently, think differently, act differently. Because I am awakening you to the truth of your divine potential. You are not just a recipient of blessing. You are a steward of kingdom wealth. And as you align your life with my wisdom, as you step into generosity, into gratitude, into vision, I will multiply what you place in my hands. This is the beginning of something sacred, not just a change in income, but a change in identity. I am rewriting what you believe about provision. I'm healing the wounds of scarcity that made you live in fear. I'm restoring your confidence, not in the systems of man, but in my unshakable faithfulness. And yes, I will teach you. I will guide you step by step, not just spiritually, but practically. I care about the details. I care about your budgeting, your giving, your investing, your saving. I care about your wisdom as much as your worship, and I will not leave you ignorant or unprepared. I will raise you up to be both faithful and financially wise. So take a breath, child. Let go of the pressure. The striving ends here. You do not have to carry the burden alone. I am your source, and I do not run dry. Your breakthrough is not just coming. It has already begun. In this very moment, as you open your heart to receive these words, something eternal is moving in the unseen. Do not fear the future. Do not resent the process. Trust me with what you cannot yet see. I am the God of more than enough, and I am leading you there. You've wondered if abundance was reserved for others. You've looked at your circumstances and measured your worth against the world's standards. You've heard the promises of provision, but hesitated to believe they could apply to you. Yet here I am, whispering again, not with judgment, but with joy. Yes, this is for you. My child, I did not plant dreams in your heart only to tease you with impossibility. I placed them there because I intended to fulfill them. I do not dangle hope like a bait. I deliver what I promise, and what I promise now is transformation. Not through chance, not through luck, but through revelation. You are stepping into the awareness of your divine potential, and it will change everything. You've lived under the weight of thoughts that told you to settle. Thoughts that said, be grateful for what little you have, as if gratitude and growth are mutually exclusive. But I say, you can be deeply thankful and still believe for more. Gratitude is not complacency. Gratitude is the soil where abundance grows. When you begin to see the value of what you already have, your time, your gifts, your intellect, your resilience, you begin to unlock the flow of what I'm pouring next. Every time you acknowledge the smallest blessing, you increase your capacity for more. And that is where this journey of breakthrough truly begins. In your thoughts, in your beliefs, in your inner atmosphere. Because financial freedom is not merely about money, it is about mindsets. It is about releasing the false narratives that have built walls around your ability to receive. The idea that you must struggle to be spiritual, the belief that sacrifice and lack are more holy than wisdom and wealth, the fear that if you grow, others will reject you. I'm breaking those lies. I'm tearing down the strongholds that have kept you boxed in, and I'm replacing them with truth. You were made for impact. You were made for freedom. You were made to walk in divine partnership with me, where nothing is impossible and everything is surrendered to my guidance. Your inheritance is not tied to external permission. It is tied to the covenant I have with you. I have called you blessed. I have called you equipped. I have called you to reflect my abundance on the earth, not as a symbol of superiority, but as a vessel of my faithfulness. You are not greedy for wanting stability. You are not selfish for desiring overflow. I created you to steward more, not for your ego, but for my kingdom. And when your hands are open, when your heart remains humble, I can trust you with what others mishandle. You've thought that provision would come only through your labor, that breakthrough would arrive only if you exhausted yourself to earn it. But listen to me now. I do not reward burnout. I bless obedience. I honor the quiet decisions made in faith. I move in response to trust, not just toil. And while diligence is holy, desperation is not your identity. You do not need to prove your worth through exhaustion. You only need to align with me. And I will do what no amount of striving ever could. My spirit is your greatest strategy. My wisdom is your best investment. And when you begin to walk in step with me, doors will open, not because you kicked them down, but because I already held the key. Let's speak now of generosity, because I know your heart. I know how often you've wanted to give more, bless more, support others in need, but felt the ache of limitation. You've said, "One day, Lord, when I have enough." And I say to you, begin now, not with pressure, not with guilt, but with willingness. Generosity is not about the size of the gift. It's about the posture of the giver. When you give even a little with joy and trust, you partner with me in a divine economy that multiplies what the world can't understand. You don't need to be rich to be generous. You just need to be surrendered. And from that surrender, I will increase not only what you have, but who you become. You may look around and feel like others are further along. You may compare your journey and wonder why it's taken so long for your breakthrough to come. But you must remember, I do not measure success the way the world does. I'm not just building a financial picture. I'm cultivating a resilient, unshakable heart. The kind of heart that doesn't just receive wealth, but knows how to carry it, protect it, multiply it, use it to change lives. And sometimes that work takes time, but it is never wasted. You are not behind. You are being refined. This is the beauty of the path you're on. You're not just gaining resources, you're being transformed. You're learning to see lack not as a verdict, but as a signal that it's time to lean into me. You're discovering that provision flows where peace resides, and peace comes when you stop chasing and start trusting. You're beginning to understand that my abundance is not a reward at the end of a struggle. It's a promise fulfilled through relationship. When your eyes are on me, not just on the provision, you will find more than you ever dreamed. So let me speak plainly to your soul. I am bringing you into a season of financial breakthrough. I am aligning opportunities, orchestrating connections, awakening wisdom, and expanding your capacity. You will not walk this path alone. I will teach you. I will nudge you. I will correct you when needed, not to punish, but to protect. And when you falter, I will be there, not with disappointment, but with the gentle hand of a father who delights in helping his child succeed. This isn't wishful thinking. This isn't hype. This is a holy promise. You're moving into a place of more peace, more strategy, more favor, more wisdom, more impact, not just for you, but through you. For families, for generations, for purposes far beyond what you can yet imagine. Because when I bless to overflow. Let's talk now about trust, not the easy kind, the kind that flows when everything aligns, when the provision is visible, when the math makes sense. Let's talk about the kind of trust that shows up when the account is low, when the job offer hasn't come, when the bills are due, and you can't yet see how it will all work out. That space, yes, that very tension, is sacred to me. It is in that place where I teach you the difference between what is temporary and what is eternal. I don't take pleasure in your stress. I take pleasure in your dependence. Because when you trust me in lack, you discover a part of me that abundance can never teach. I know how hard it is to walk by faith when your eyes crave certainty. I know how loud the world becomes when your finances feel fragile. Every voice shouts, worry more, do more, fear more. But my voice whispers, trust me, not with blind ignorance, but with spiritual vision. I am not asking you to neglect responsibility. I am asking you to surrender control. That's the key to breakthrough. Not in mastering outcomes, but in letting go of your need to manipulate the future. I never called you to carry what only I can complete. I called you to partner with me, to trust me, to move forward as I lead, not as the world dictates. You've thought trust meant passivity, that if you believe, you must do nothing. But real trust is active. It looks like praying with expectation, even when the evidence isn't visible. It looks like showing up with excellence, even in roles that seem small. It looks like budgeting wisely, giving joyfully, asking questions, and learning with humility. Trust is not laziness. Trust is obedience. It means doing what's in your hands while believing that what's in my hands will always be more than enough. And I need you to know this. You will never trust me in vain. Every risk you take in faith, every time you resist the urge to panic, every moment you choose peace over pressure, these are investments in something eternal. I see them, I honor them, and I respond. Not always on your timeline, but always in perfect timing. I am not slow. I am strategic. I move when the moment serves your good and my glory. And while you wait, I am never idle. I am preparing people, positioning resources, shaping environments, and aligning your heart with what's to come. It's easy to forget this when life feels fragile, when the numbers don't add up, when your dreams seem more like burdens than blessings. But I remind you, I didn't call you to dream only what you could afford. I called you to trust in what I can supply. If the vision in your heart feels bigger than your resources, that's a sign that it's from me. I never meant for you to accomplish it alone. My provision isn't just about filling gaps. It's about fueling destiny. So bring me your plans. Bring me your questions. Bring me the parts of your heart that have been disappointed before. I can handle your honesty. I prefer it. Faith isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to believe in the midst of the imperfection. And when you speak to me from that place, when you say, Lord, I want to trust you even though I'm afraid, I draw near. I don't require flawless faith. I respond to willingness. I meet you in the middle, and I walk with you all the way through. I want to lead you into financial habits that reflect my wisdom. I want to help you discern when to wait and when to move, when to sow and when to reap, when to say yes and when to walk away. I care about your decisions, and I will guide them, not just through feeling, but through clarity, through wisdom that comes from my spirit, confirmed in peace. You'll begin to notice that some opportunities don't carry my breath, even if they seem profitable, and others, small and unexpected, will open into abundance. This is not coincidence. It is kingdom. My breakthrough often begins with subtle shifts, a new connection, a renewed idea, a moment of clarity that changes everything. Don't despise the quiet ways I move. Watch for me in the details. Listen for me in the stillness. Sometimes I change circumstances instantly. Other times, I shift your heart first so that when the breakthrough comes, you're ready to hold it without fear, without pride, without forgetting who made it possible. And as your trust deepens, so will your freedom. Because financial breakthrough is not only about the outside, it is about the chains coming off the inside, the fear of running out, the panic when things shift, the deep belief that you're alone in the burden. Those are the places where I am moving now. I am cutting those cords. You will begin to think differently. You will begin to respond differently. You will begin to see money not as a master or a mystery, but as a tool, something I've entrusted to you, something that can serve purpose, bless others, and bring peace instead of pressure. You're learning to live from a place of rest, not rush. You're learning to make decisions from faith, not fear. You're stepping into a lifestyle of abundance, not of excess, but of enough. Enough clarity, enough provision, enough strength, enough peace, and more than enough of me. Because my presence is the true provision. Everything else flows from there. So stay close. Don't look to the left or the right. Keep your eyes on me. I will not lead you into confusion. I will not let you fail when you trust my way, and even when you stumble, I will catch you. My grace is your safety net. My wisdom is your anchor. My voice is your compass. And your breakthrough, your real, lasting, joy-filled breakthrough, is closer than you think. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are being formed, and you are ready. Now let us go deeper, not just into provision, but into purpose. Because your financial breakthrough is not an end in itself, it is a means to something greater. I bless you not so you can simply possess more, but so you can live more fully, so you can love more freely, so you can release the grip of worry and stretch your hands toward what truly matters. You were not created for mere accumulation. You were created for impact. And the moment you begin to see your finances not just as survival, but as a sacred resource, everything begins to shift. You've asked me for increase, and I am not withholding it. But I ask you now to see the full picture, to understand that I give not only to fill your hands, but to fill your life with purpose. Your influence will grow. Your reach will extend, but not as a symbol of status, as a vessel of grace. I want you to be able to respond when I nudge you, to give when generosity becomes the answer, to move when I say go, without fear of lack. That kind of freedom is true prosperity, not just the ability to buy, but the ability to bless. And blessing, real blessing, begins when your heart finds its alignment with mine. When you begin to care not only about what you can get, but what you can give. When you begin to see that the resources I entrust to you are never just for you. They are for the broken, the burdened, the forgotten, the faithful. They are for lifting up, not just building up. I want you to live with open hands, not just in receiving, but in releasing. Not out of pressure, but out of joy. Because giving is not loss. In my kingdom, giving is multiplication. You've experienced what it's like to give from lack, when you've given even when you had little and felt the stretch, and I have honored those moments. But I want to take you further. I want you to give from overflow, to experience what it means to sow without fear, to bless without calculating, to be so in tune with my spirit that your generosity becomes second nature. Because that's where the greatest joy lives, not in having everything, but in seeing how what you have can change someone else's story. And I know what you're thinking, but I'm not there yet. And that's exactly why I'm walking with you. I am not expecting perfection. I am inviting participation. I'm not calling you to become something overnight. I'm asking you to grow with me, to trust the process, to see even the smallest shift in your heart as progress. You are learning to steward, to see, to feel differently. That's how transformation begins, not with loud fanfare, but with a quiet yes. In this season, I want to recalibrate your understanding of success. The world says you're winning when you've collected more than others, but I say you're thriving when you live unburdened by fear, when your joy isn't tied to outcomes, when your peace can't be stolen by a financial storm. That's the kind of breakthrough I'm building in you, not just a windfall, but a foundation, something unshakable, something eternal. And I want to teach you how to partner with me in practical things. I want to help you build a financial vision, not based in fantasy, but rooted in wisdom. A vision where you budget not just out of caution, but out of clarity. Where you learn to invest to save, to spend with discernment. Where you stop fearing financial conversations because you know I am with you in them. I care about your literacy as much as your liberty. I want you informed, not just inspired. Equipped, not just emotional. This is how my children walk, in truth and power, not in confusion and fear. Do not shrink back from this growth. Do not say, "That's not for me." You're not disqualified by your past. You're not limited by your background. I can teach you what you've never learned. I can give you wisdom that surpasses experience. I can accelerate your understanding and bring the right people into your life at the right time to help guide your steps. But you must be open. You must be teachable. You must believe that this is not too far out of reach, that with me even now it is possible. Because what I desire for you is wholeness, not just in spirit, not just in relationships, but in your financial life too. I want you free from the stress that keeps you up at night, free from the tension that robs your joy, free from the decisions made out of desperation rather than direction. This freedom is not wishful thinking. It is your inheritance. And I am calling you to walk in it with confidence, knowing that I delight in every step you take toward wisdom, every act of stewardship, every moment of generosity, every time you choose trust over fear. Celebrate every small win. Rejoice in the progress. Don't wait for a dramatic shift to declare my faithfulness. I am working in the details. I am present in the process. I see the unseen choices, the quiet obedience, the faithful stewardship. And I will reward it, not because you've earned it, but because I am a good father who loves to bless his children who walk with him. So walk tall, walk humbly, walk wisely, and know that every resource, every opportunity, every insight I release into your life carries my signature. It is not random. It is not luck. It is provision on purpose. And as you continue to align your heart with mine, you will begin to see breakthrough not just as a destination, but as a lifestyle. Because breakthrough is not only what I do, it's who I am. And I am with you, always. There is a beauty in the journey even when it's marked by uncertainty. I know that's hard to believe when your eyes are fixed on outcomes and your heart aches for closure. But every step you've taken, even the hesitant, trembling ones, have brought you closer to freedom. You may not have recognized it, but your journey toward financial breakthrough has not been about reaching a number in your account. It has been about discovering who you are in me. It has been about shifting your identity from fear to faith, from lack to love, from scarcity to sonship. Because once you know who you are, everything else begins to align. You are not a burden. You are not a failure. You are not an imposter walking among the blessed. You are my child, my heir, my beloved. I didn't just place you on this earth to get by. I placed you here to reflect my glory, to be a light in dark places, a source of blessing in a world that hungers for hope. And I will never lead you into purpose without providing for it. I have tied your provision to my promise, not to your perfection. And that means your breakthrough isn't waiting on your flawlessness. It's waiting on your faith. I know what has tried to convince you otherwise. The times you were passed over, the moments you miscalculated, the seasons when no doors opened, and you questioned your own ability to hear me. But those moments didn't cancel my plan. They revealed the places I am now restoring. Because what good is wealth if the heart cannot carry it? What good is overflow if your soul is leaking through the cracks of old wounds and false beliefs? That is why I've allowed you to walk this path slowly, so I could heal what hurried success would have masked. You're not behind. You're being built to last. Celebrate that, even when the progress feels slow, even when others around you seem to leap ahead. Your journey is not theirs. Your process is not a punishment. It's a preparation for a blessing that won't break you. I'm not interested in making you rich in a moment if it leaves your spirit bankrupt. I want you whole, inside and out. I want your values to align with your vision. I want your hands to be steady when the increase comes. And it's coming. You've begun to feel it already, haven't you? That quiet courage rising, that nudge to think differently, that urge to dream again without shame. That's me. I'm awakening your heart to receive what's always been yours. Not because you finally performed well enough, but because you finally dared to believe you were worthy. You are. And when you believe that, truly, deeply, without reservation, you begin to unlock blessings that were never far, just waiting for the soil of your heart to be ready. So many of my children sabotage their own breakthrough because they still carry the weight of past mistakes. They believe they must pay their way back into favor, that they must atone for errors through constant sacrifice. But I say this to you now. I have already paid the price. I have already covered the debt. My grace is not a theory, it is a transfer. I took what was broken and gave you beauty. I took what was lacking and gave you abundance. And I did it willingly, not reluctantly, because I want you free. Not just emotionally, not just spiritually, but financially, relationally, and purposefully. You've thought financial freedom was reserved for a different kind of person, more confident, more strategic, more educated. But those are not the prerequisites for my blessing. I work through wisdom, yes, but I begin with surrender. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to follow my voice, one faithful step at a time. And I will send wisdom. I will send people. I will open the doors. I will prompt the ideas. You won't have to chase every opportunity. I will lead you to the right ones. Even now, I'm softening the ground in places you thought were barren. I'm reigniting dreams you thought were foolish. I'm bringing order to financial areas that once felt chaotic. Not all at once, but faithfully, steadily, miraculously. This is how I work. Not always with lightning, but with light, illuminating what's next, guiding you with peace, revealing what needs to change, what needs to stay, what needs to go. And in the midst of it all, I ask you this: keep your heart grateful. Gratitude is the atmosphere of multiplication. It turns what you have into enough, and what you expect into abundance. When you thank me not just for the outcome, but for the process, you create space for miracles. Not because your praise bribes me, but because gratitude is the language of trust. And where trust lives, I dwell richly. So pause today. Breathe. Look back not with regret, but with reverence. You have come far. You are no longer who you once were. And though you may not yet see the fullness of your breakthrough, you are walking in it now. Every obedient step, every faith-filled decision, every moment you chose to stay soft instead of bitter, these are the milestones of your new beginning, and I celebrate them with you. This is the message I want to brand upon your heart. I am not just bringing you out of lack, I am bringing you into legacy. What I pour into your life is meant to outlive you. It is meant to bless generations. It is meant to tell a story of redemption, of hope, of faith that overcame fear. Your life will be proof that I am who I say I am, that I do what I promise, that I never fail those who trust me. You're not far from breakthrough. You're already in it. And it's only just beginning. You've carried a vision in your heart, sometimes boldly, sometimes quietly, sometimes almost in secret. A vision for freedom, for dignity, for the ability to provide without panic, to give without guilt, to dream without the interruption of dread. And I have watched you carry that vision through seasons of uncertainty, of scarcity, of being misunderstood. I've seen how carefully you've protected it, even when your circumstances seem to contradict everything you believed. And today I want you to know this: I planted that vision. It did not come from vanity or selfish ambition. It came from me. And because I planted it, I will bring it to fruition. You are not foolish to believe. You are not naive to imagine more. That was the flicker of my spirit in you, drawing your eyes toward a future shaped not by fear, but by faith. And though the fulfillment may have tarried, though the road may have felt longer than expected, nothing has been lost. In fact, what you call delay, I call design. Because during this journey, I've been doing more than preparing the blessing. I've been preparing you. The vision must grow with the vessel. The future I have for you cannot be held by hands still gripping past failures. or hearts still weighed down by fear. And that is why I've brought you here, to this very moment, to this renewed mindset, to this awakening in your soul. Because now you are ready not just to ask for breakthrough, but to carry it, not just to experience change, but to embody it. Your vision is no longer something you're chasing in the distance. It is something rising within you, made real by trust, by obedience, by the steps you've taken even when you couldn't see the full path ahead. That is faith, and it is being rewarded. Let me remind you, you were created in the image of a Creator. That means you are not a passive recipient of blessing. You are an active partner in transformation. You are not just waiting for provision to fall from the sky. You are learning to co-create with me, to take vision and turn it into action, to turn revelation into strategy, to walk with both prayer and purpose. This is the power of alignment. And when your spirit aligns with mine, when your decisions reflect trust instead of fear, your vision begins to manifest. Not someday, but day by day. You may think it's small now, you may wonder if it matters. But I say, do not despise small beginnings. The greatest rivers begin with tiny springs. The tallest trees were once seeds buried beneath the ground. What you are nurturing now is sacred even if few see it. Even if it hasn't yet produced income, applause, or visible success. I see it, and I am breathing life into it, watering it with wisdom, protecting it from forces you don't even know were sent to destroy it. What is planted in me cannot fail. It can only grow. So keep going. Keep planning even when the resources seem thin. Keep preparing even when the path feels unclear. Keep speaking even when the audience is small. Because breakthrough is not just about one big moment. It is about consistent faithfulness. And I reward faithfulness always, even in obscurity, especially in obscurity. I'm not waiting for the spotlight. I'm working in the shadows. And when the moment comes, it will not be by chance. It will be the unveiling of what I've been building with you all along. As your vision unfolds, do not forget to remain grounded. Let humility be your strength. Let generosity be your instinct. Let kindness shape your influence. Because the higher I take you, the more vital it becomes that your roots remain deep. Not in fear of falling, but in honor of the one who lifted you. This vision is not just for your benefit. It is for those who will be touched by your obedience, those who will hear your story and believe they too are not disqualified. Not too late, not forgotten. You are becoming someone others will look to, not as a flawless example, but as a faithful witness. They will see in you not just success, but substance, not just growth, but grace. Because your breakthrough will not just be what you achieve, it will be how you've changed, how you've remained anchored in me when the waves rose, how you've kept your heart soft when the world hardened, how you've carried blessing without pride and endured struggle without bitterness. And in the process, I will keep reminding you, you are not alone. I am in every boardroom, every bank, every budget, every conversation. I am in the quiet morning reflections and the late night decisions. I am your guide when you don't know the next step. I am your covering when others don't see your worth. I am your strength when the vision feels too big and the support feels too small. You are surrounded by my favor. You are sustained by my wisdom. And you are moving exactly at the pace of my purpose for you. I never asked you to figure it all out. I only asked you to walk with me. So don't let worry shape your plans. Let wisdom do that. Don't let urgency dictate your actions. Let peace be your pace. Don't let fear write your vision. Let faith illuminate it. I will lead you with clarity. I will correct you with kindness. I will protect you even from what you think you want. Because I see not just the dream, I see the destiny, and I will not stop until you step fully into it. This is more than financial success. This is spiritual significance. This is legacy. This is stewardship. This is overflow, not just in wealth, but in wisdom, in wholeness, in wonder. The vision I've given you was not a momentary spark. It was the ignition of a life meant to shine with my glory. Hold it close. Build it wisely, share it boldly, and watch me bring it to pass. The rhythm of heaven that does not conform to human clocks or calendars, yet unfolds with perfect precision. I know how often you've looked at your life and thought, it should have happened by now. You've measured your progress against timelines, against peers, against the expectations you once held like promises. And each time something delayed, each time a door remained closed or a dream seemed distant, the enemy whispered, "You missed it." But hear me now. You have missed nothing I intended for you. What is yours in my plan cannot be taken by delay, disappointment, or even detour. My timing is not late. It is intentional. It is exact. And when you begin to trust not just in my power, but in my pace, your soul will find rest. Because every moment you thought I was silent, I was actually preparing. The things you prayed for 5 years ago, I never forgot. The steps you took in obedience that seemed fruitless, they were seeds. And seeds don't scream when they grow, they break open in silence. Your breakthrough is not a product of chance. It is the result of layers upon layers of surrender, of trust, of unseen faithfulness I've been watching all along. You may feel like others have passed you, that while you waited, they built, that while you prayed, they prospered. But comparison is a thief, and it blinds you to what I'm doing in your unique story. I never called you to someone else's path. I never designed your journey to be a replica. I tailor the pace of your progress to the weight of your calling. And because your calling is significant, the foundation must be deep. That takes time. And though others may rise quickly, you will rise with roots. In this season, I want you to release the pressure to rush. I want you to step out of anxiety and into alignment. There is a difference. Anxiety says, if I don't make it happen now, it won't happen. Alignment says, when I walk with God, nothing meant for me will be lost. That is the posture I'm inviting you into. A steady, peaceful confidence that doesn't sprint toward blessing, but walks with me into it. Because I'm more interested in the quality of your transformation than the speed of your transition. Do you trust me enough to wait when it's uncomfortable? To believe when the page is still blank? To prepare when no one is watching? These are the questions that define destiny, not because I need to test you, but because I want to bless you in a way that lasts. I want to give you a breakthrough that doesn't crack under pressure, a financial stability that doesn't evaporate under fear, a legacy that's built on wisdom, not on rush. Even now, I'm teaching you to discern the seasons. Just as the earth has rhythms, seed time and harvest, rain and sun, so does your life. You're not always meant to harvest. Sometimes you're meant to prepare the ground. Other times, to water what's been planted. And yes, sometimes you must wait while growth happens where you can't see it. But every season has purpose. Every delay has depth. Nothing I allow is wasted. And when your spirit begins to agree with my seasons, you'll stop resenting the waiting and start receiving the wisdom hidden within it. I'm also protecting you in ways you cannot yet perceive. Some opportunities I withheld were not punishment. They were preservation. Some delays were not setbacks. They were divine redirections. If I had given you what you asked for when you first asked, it might have crushed you. But now, you're learning to carry more with grace, to steward well, to handle growth without losing your grounding. That's maturity. And that's what I'm building in you, because the blessing I'm bringing will require it. I want you to notice the subtle shifts happening around you now, conversations that spark ideas, insights that arrive quietly in your spirit, unexpected clarity about things you've struggled to understand. These are not coincidences. These are signals that you are stepping into the appointed time, not by forcing, but by flowing, not by pushing doors open, but by walking through the ones I unlock. And as this divine timing unfolds, continue to posture your heart with gratitude. Gratitude for what is, even as you wait for what's next. Gratitude turns waiting into worship. It transforms impatience into intimacy. It anchors you in the truth that my presence is the greatest provision, even before the tangible comes. When you learn to live from that place, every season becomes holy. Every step becomes sacred. And your journey stops being something you endure and starts becoming something you embrace. I'm here to remind you, you are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not falling behind. You are being refined, elevated, prepared. I'm aligning people, places, timing, and wisdom to converge in such a way that when the breakthrough comes, it will feel both sudden and sovereign. You will look back and realize that what felt like waiting was really weaving, threads of purpose stitched by my hand into a tapestry greater than anything you could have imagined. So stay faithful. Keep showing up. Keep stewarding what I've placed in your hands. Celebrate the small advances. Rest when I say rest. Move when I say move. And remember, I am the God who makes all things beautiful in their time. Your time is not just coming, it is unfolding. Let's now talk about peace. Not as the world gives it, not the kind that disappears with a shift in circumstances or the fluctuation of numbers, but the peace that I give. The peace that anchors you even when the winds rise. The peace that holds you steady when uncertainty knocks. Because true breakthrough is not only financial gain, it is emotional freedom. And you are not truly prosperous if your soul is in turmoil. That is why, even as I lead you into abundance, I must also lead you into peace. They are inseparable in my kingdom. One sustains the other. You've lived with financial anxiety for a long time. Perhaps it was inherited, perhaps it came from experience, perhaps it grew silently over time as responsibilities multiplied and answers seemed slow. But I see how your mind is often raced at night, calculating, predicting, planning for every possible scenario just to feel safe. I see the mental spreadsheets, the worry behind each swipe of the card, the quiet dread each time a new bill arrives. You've lived in survival mode, doing what you had to do, and I honor that fight in you. But I did not design you to remain there. I created you for rest. That doesn't mean passivity or avoidance. It means trust. It means learning to live with an inner calm that doesn't evaporate when a challenge arises. It means knowing that no matter what appears lacking, you're never without me, and therefore never without options. Peace is the gift I give when you finally believe that I am your source, not just your safety net, that I'm not a last resort, but your first provision, that I don't just patch holes, I build whole new vessels. The world trains you to panic, to react, to brace yourself at all times for the worst, but I train you to be present, to listen, to respond with wisdom, not worry, to move with discernment, not desperation. And as you walk more closely with me, you will begin to notice this shift in your responses. You will notice that the same circumstances that once sent you spiraling no longer have the same power. Why? Because you're no longer alone in the burden. Because you've learned to let me carry what was never yours to bear. I'm healing your relationship with money, not just in action, but in emotion. I'm taking away the shame tied to mistakes, the guilt of not knowing what no one taught you, the fear of repeating old patterns. I'm replacing those weights with wisdom, with grace, with the ability to look at your finances without flinching, without self-condemnation, without dread. You will begin to see money not as a threat or a mystery, but as a tool. A servant, not a master, and that will bring you peace. Peace also comes through clarity, and that is what I am bringing to you now. Clarity about your true needs versus wants. Clarity about what's essential for your calling. Clarity about the difference between temporary pleasure and lasting purpose. The world thrives on your confusion. It markets scarcity. It manipulates urgency. It tells you you're always one step behind. But I speak calm into that noise. I bring perspective. I teach you that peace is not found in having everything, but in knowing what actually matters, and knowing I will provide it in full. You don't need to fear not having enough. I am enough. And when you live from that truth, your entire posture changes. You stop living to prove something. You stop overspending to feel momentarily secure. You stop shrinking to avoid judgment. Instead, you begin to live freely. You say no when needed, without shame. You say yes with confidence, not fear. You learn to wait with joy, to invest with insight, to build with balance. That is the lifestyle of someone who walks in divine peace. And it is not a luxury. It is your inheritance. I'm also teaching you how to guard your peace, because financial freedom can bring new pressures, new decisions, new responsibilities. And while the world may celebrate only the visible success, I care more deeply about how your soul is doing under the surface. I want you rooted before you rise, grounded before you expand. So I will keep leading you back to stillness, back to prayer, back to presence. Because every outward increase must be matched by inward stillness, or the weight will crush what I intend to build. And when the waves come, and they will, you will not be thrown. Because peace does not mean a stormless life. It means a storm-proof heart. It means you'll know exactly where to go when fear knocks. To me. Not to figures, not to forecasts, not to frantic solutions, but to my presence. You'll lay the worry at my feet and walk away lighter. You'll worship when others worry. You'll rest when others race. Not because you're unaware, but because you're anchored. There will be a day, and it's already approaching, when someone looks at you and says, "I don't know how you're so calm in this," and your answer will not be pride. It will be peace. Peace that surpasses understanding. Peace that doesn't make sense to the world but makes perfect sense in my kingdom. Because it's the kind of peace that comes not from what you have, but from who has you. So breathe, child. Let go of the weight. Let go of the panic. Let go of the belief that if you don't worry, you're being irresponsible. Worry is not wisdom. Panic is not preparation. Peace is the place from which all true clarity and provision flow. And I am inviting you into that place now, not just once, but daily. This is the promise of your breakthrough, not just an increase in what's in your hands, but a stillness in what's in your heart. You are not just being resourced, you're being restored. You're beginning to see now, aren't you? That this journey has never been just about finances. It has always been about faith. About restoring the deep places in you that were taught to fear the future, to equate worth with wealth, to see yourself as someone who must struggle before they are seen. But I've been undoing those lies one by one, not to tear you down, but to build you on something firmer, something eternal, my truth. You were never meant to carry shame about your past, not about the financial mistakes, not about the seasons of lack, not even about the choices you regret. My mercy is more than a moment, it is a movement. It is actively at work in your story, rewriting what you once thought was irredeemable. I am not holding your missteps against you. I am using them to make you wise. You don't have to keep paying an emotional debt for things I've already forgiven. The debt is settled. The shame is unnecessary. Your story is not a cautionary tale. It is becoming a testimony. I want you to see yourself the way I do, not as someone barely hanging on, but as someone being built up. You are stronger than you feel, not because you've never been broken, but because I've walked with you through every breaking. I've gathered every fragment, and I've not wasted one. Your breakthrough is not built on pretending your past never happened. It's built on seeing that my grace was always greater than your failure. That's where real freedom lives, not in erasure, but in redemption. You've looked around and seen others with more, and wondered if you somehow missed the formula. You didn't. There is no formula, only faithfulness. And faithfulness is different for everyone. For some, it's building. For others, it's staying. For some, it's sowing. For others, it's waiting. But in every case, it's about one thing: trusting me. There is no comparison in the kingdom. There is only calling. And I do not call two people in the same way. What I'm doing in you is specific, tailored, holy. Your breakthrough is not going to look like anyone else's, and that's a good thing, because I'm not interested in replicas. I'm interested in authenticity. The financial freedom I'm walking you into is not just about results. It's about restoration of identity. You're not just going to have more. You're going to know more. You're going to know who you are, what matters, and what no longer has a hold on you. You will walk lighter, not because your bank account is full, but because your spirit is. And as this freedom grows in you, you'll notice something remarkable. Your desire to help others will increase, not from a place of obligation, but from joy, from gratitude. You'll find yourself giving, encouraging, equipping, because you remember what it felt like to be afraid, to be confused, to feel stuck. And I will use that memory not to torment you, but to anoint you. What you've walked through will become wisdom for others. Your voice will carry weight. Your story will carry power, because it will be laced with compassion, not judgment. Do not minimize what you've endured. Do not brush it off as just a phase or a hard season. That season shaped you. It taught you to rely on me. It pruned what needed to go. It sharpened your focus. It cleared out the distractions. And now what remains is purer, stronger, more enduring. You have roots now, and because of those roots, your growth will be unstoppable. Not rushed, not showy, but real, authentic, fruitful. I'm going to start using you in ways you didn't expect. You'll find that conversations shift. People will come to you not just for help, but for hope. They'll sense peace in your words. They'll feel steadiness in your presence. And you'll realize, this is the fruit of walking with me. This is the evidence of transformation. Not just increased provision, but increased purpose. You're becoming a steward, not only of resources, but of revelation. I'm entrusting you with influence, not for status, but for service. Not to elevate yourself, but to elevate others. Your story, your breakthrough, your wisdom, it will be a light for many. And not because you're perfect, but because you're faithful. Because you kept walking when it would have been easier to quit. Because you chose to trust me again and again, even when it hurt. And that trust has brought you here to a place of deep knowing, a place of inner rest, a place where the fears are quieter and my voice is louder, where you're no longer waiting for permission to believe in good things. You've given yourself that permission because you now understand that my goodness is not a reward for the worthy. It's a river that runs to the thirsty. And I will keep pouring. I will keep leading. I will keep multiplying, not just what's in your hands, but what's in your heart. Your peace, your clarity, your joy, your hope. Because this is what breakthrough really is. Not just a change in position, but a change in perspective. A new way of seeing, a new way of living, one no longer rooted in fear, but in me. You've come far, and what's ahead is full of promise, not just because you desire it, but because I designed it. You are not disqualified, you are destined. You are not striving, you are stepping into alignment. And that alignment will bring more than you asked, in ways you never imagined. This is your time. This is your testimony. This is your turning point. This is where it all comes together, not in a moment of noise and celebration, but in a quiet, undeniable knowing deep within your spirit. The breakthrough is here. You're no longer reaching for it as a distant hope. You're standing in it. It may not look like the headlines the world celebrates. It may not yet reflect every financial goal you've set. But your heart knows something has shifted. You're no longer bound to the past patterns of fear, lack, or striving. You're rooted in me. You're anchored in peace. You're flowing in trust. And that, beloved, is the evidence of true abundance. Because financial breakthrough isn't simply about having more, it's about being free. Free to live without the weight of constant anxiety. Free to plan without panic. Free to give without resentment. Free to dream without dread. You now know that I'm not just your provider. I am your peace, your guide, your source in all things. And that knowledge is wealth far greater than gold. It's the kind that cannot be shaken by recessions, debts, delays, or opinions. It's a kind of wealth that multiplies in secret, flows in storms, and blesses everyone it touches. So take this moment and breathe. Let every burden that once clung to your shoulders fall away. Let every worry that once claimed space in your thoughts be silenced. I am here, and I will never leave. Not when the budget is tight. Not when the numbers don't add up. Not when you face new decisions. I am as faithful on the mountaintop as I was in the valley. And I will continue to provide not only resources but wisdom. Not only opportunities but discernment. I don't just bless, I build. I prepare, I sustain. You've been asking, what's next? And here is my answer. Walk with me. Keep walking. The same faith that brought you here is the same faith that will take you further. There's more ahead, more freedom, more insight, more strategy, more joy. But you don't need to strive for it. You need to stay with me. Stay in the Word. Stay in prayer. Stay in a posture of gratitude and humility. The moment you start to feel the old fears rise again, come back to this truth. I'm still with you. I've not changed. The same God who opened the last door will open the next. And as your blessing grows, so will your reach. You'll notice that you no longer live just for yourself. You'll wake each day aware of how your life can bless others. Your words will carry hope. Your generosity will carry healing. Your presence will carry peace. Because when I bless, it's never for isolation. It's for multiplication. I pour into you so you can pour out. I strengthen you so you can lift others. And the legacy you leave will not just be wealth, but wisdom, compassion, and truth. You will be a light in dark places, a calm in chaotic systems, a voice of faith where fear used to reign. Not because you have all the answers, but because you have me. And that will be enough. You'll be surprised by how many will look to you for guidance. And when they do, don't shrink. Don't disqualify yourself. Don't say, I'm still figuring it out. Just point to me. Share your story. Tell them how you trusted, how you stumbled, how you rose again, how grace carried you where strategy couldn't. That will be the sermon their hearts need most. And when you give, do it with joy. When you rest, do it without guilt. When you receive, do it with humility. And when you lead, do it with love. These are the marks of those who carry kingdom wealth. Not arrogance, not control, but deep, radiant love. A love that doesn't depend on assets, status, or applause. A love that reflects the one who gives freely, faithfully, fully. So remember, this breakthrough is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of a new way of living. a new way of seeing yourself, a new way of trusting me. And as you go, you will continue to witness my hand in every detail. In the opportunities that seem to come from nowhere, in the quiet confirmations in your spirit, in the peace that defies logic, that's me, always working, always loving, always leading. And when the world asks you, how did it happen? You'll smile, not in pride, but in awe. You'll say, it was God. He led me. He carried me. He taught me how to receive, how to steward, how to rest. He never left. He always provided, and he still is. Yes, my child, I still am. I always will be. Amen. Now go share this message. Let someone else know I am still the God of breakthrough, and what I've done in you, I can do in them. Let hope rise again through your life, through your light, through your testimony.